Hello, everyone, and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the Monday Night Football stream for DraftKings single game Showdown Slate. I know there's a couple other people that come in here that play on FanDuel as well. If I get enough time towards the end of the stream, we'll talk a little bit about a FanDuel as well. But basically, what I do in this stream is I go through. We're going to talk some inactives. We're going to go through the pricing of this players on the slate overall, and then kind of build a couple lineups together and just talk ownership and everything else like that as well. So don't see too many people in here at this point in time, but as people pile in, feel free to ask any questions that you do have in the comments as well, and I'll get answered as quickly as possible. So first of all, we're going to start off with the inactives because that's kind of the biggest thing I like to look at when we're going into any slate is guys aren't going to be scoring points if they're not playing. So for the Chicago Bears, wide receiver Isaiah Coulter is out. Or he's inactive. Lamar Jackson, reserve corner. Jonathan Kingsley Jonathan, a reserve defensive lineman, Jake Tungus. So nobody major on the Bear side here. Obviously, Coulter could have been a wide receiver option for cheap, but a name that is not here is N'Keal Harry, so he will make his Bears debut. He's $200 on DraftKings. If you want to take that dart throw, you can go there. He's been a very underwhelming first-round pick. Obviously, he was traded from the Patriots to the Bears, so if you want the little bit of revenge game narrative there, it's there, but who knows if he plays more than 10 snaps in this game. So kind of a dart throw altogether. For the New England Patriots, we got Christian Barmore is out, one of their main defensive linemen. So that could impact them a little bit overall. They do get, I believe, Lawrence Guy back. He's been inactive the last few weeks. Josh Bledsoe, reserve safety, not too worried about him. Kendrick Bourne, the wide receiver, obviously, he's a guy that plays here and there. Not too bad of a wide receiver. Apparently, they've had a lot of trade interest for him, but he's a little bit banged up at this point in time. The name that you don't see here is actually Nelson Aguilar. So he had been dealing with a hamstring injury. Tyquan Thornton's kind of popped off since him. So we'll see if Tyquan Thornton gets more playing time now or if it's going to go right back to Nelson Aguilar. We never really know with this Patriots team overall, but can take shots on both of them tonight. Obviously, Aguilar coming off that hamstring, there is a chance that he could tweak it at any given point in time as well. Then we have running back Kevin Harris. Not too concerned about him. Obviously, he's like the fourth running back for them either way. The only running backs we should be concerned for the Patriots is Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris. Damian Harris is back now after hurting his hamstring a couple weeks ago. Josh Uche, the edge rusher's out once again. And then Sean Wade, the reserve corner, not worried about him. Isaiah Wynn, the offensive tackle for them, is actually one of their starters on the offensive line. So that's a little bit of an impact there. Maybe affects the pass blocking, maybe affects the run game a little bit overall. We do not see Mac Jones's name here on the screen, so that means he is going to be active tonight, and it sounds like he's going to be the quarterback for the New England Patriots overall. So now that I went through the inactives, I'm going to take this screen off and then bring up DraftKings real quick. And Chrome tab, DraftKings, we're going to share. DraftKings, I'm going to get into a contest just real quick. It doesn't really matter which one we get into right away. Just going to go on one of these $3 ones. We're going to create a new lineup and talk through some of the pricing overall. If you've been with me before, you know I like to look at the flex pricing instead of the champion spot pricing, just because you're only playing one guy in the champion spot, you're playing 5 other guys in the flex spot. Makes the legs a little bit easier. I know some people like to do it a lot of different ways, but me personally, I like to look at flex pricing because it's easier for me to figure out a time and a half for the one champion spot than it is to look at the champion pricing and then kind of go back and forth. It's just a little bit more easy on the eyes that way, or on the brain, at least I should say as well. So at the top, we have Ramondre Stevenson. Obviously, he's been off to a very hot start, or last couple of weeks, you could say. Chicago Bears defense is not good against the run. They are one of the worst teams against the running backs so far this season. Obviously, it says 25th here. They've been a little bit better in recent weeks, but they've given up a lot of yards to running backs. Obviously, fantasy points is a little bit different there. Ramondre Stevenson, $10,800. That's a hefty price tag for him. He's coming in with a lot of ownership. He is 23% in the champion spot projected tonight, according to runthesims.com. That is a lot of ownership going to Ramondre Stevenson, especially if he's going back to a split backfield with Damian Harris. Damian Harris is $8,400, and his champion spot ownership is only projected at 4%. So if you want to get off Ramondre Stevenson, go to Damian Harris. There's definitely some leverage to be had there. At the same time, Ramondre Stevenson is the pass catching back. Damian Harris doesn't really catch passes, or hasn't really been asked to do so far in his career. So there is that in play as well. David Montgomery, the main running back for the Chicago Bears, obviously $10,600. Patriots have fared pretty well fantasy wise against opposing running backs. Dave Montgomery getting a large workload, $10,600, a little bit more than I like to pay for him personally, but he's a guy that you can mix and match in your build as well. And he's coming in at about 10% in the champion spot. When I did run my sim earlier today, he came in about 12%. I think it's a little bit higher than I like to be if I was playing like 150 max or something like that. He'd probably get in there about 8% of the time or so. Justin Fields at $10,400. Obviously, it's not been a great year for him. He's not throwing the ball a ton, but he does have that upside with his legs. It is a tough matchup against the Patriots, but $10,400. He's only 6%. He's only got projected 6% in the champion spot overall. So that could be a good leverage spot as well. When I did run my sim earlier, we gained about 4 percentage points of leverage there with Justin Fields overall. But when you're building single game lineups, you're telling a story. So there could be the story that the Patriots defense is awesome tonight and Ramondre Stevenson, Damon Harris just run the ball down the Bears' throat. There's also a story where this game goes back and forth a little bit. Maybe it actually hits the over. I think the over under is 40 points on this game. And then Justin Fields and Mac Jones look pretty good. Mac Jones is $9,800. He's projected for 14% in that champion spot, which seems like a lot because he's not a quarterback that, has the legs to run the ball or anything else like that. And he's coming back off that ankle injury. So he's going to run even less than he has been. And that was a high ankle sprain. He's missed a couple of weeks, though. I'll give him that. So he should be good to go, but still might be limited a little bit in mobility wise. Also missing one of his offensive tackle. We talked about Damian Harris already. Jacoby Myers, $8,200. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's in the slot for this Patriots team. He's got that large target share. He's a pretty safe guy, but his champion percentage is 15%. So he's going to be chalky in the captain spot. And when I get down to the bottom, I like to look at the aggregate ownership for both teams. And I'm just going to tell you right now, the New England Patriots aggregate projected ownership is 73%. And the Bears is only 27%. So if you're playing in GPPs tonight and you want to get a leverage on the field, play some Chicago Bears in that champion spot overall. Not saying it's going to work out guaranteed, but there's a lot of leverage to be had there if it goes that way. So you got guys like Justin Fields, you got guys like even Montgomery, Mooney, if you want to go there, Cole Kmet. Bears defense is one that's really interesting to me just because there is no ownership going to it right now. And there's 10% ownership going to the Patriots defense. I'm not all the way down there, but that's just my little tangent for right now. And then we get down to Darnell Mooney, $7,400, projected 9% in the champion spot. Not too bad there overall. He came in a little bit less when I did run my simulation earlier, but there's a lot of different game scripts where he could pay off, and $7,400 is definitely not bad for a guy that's getting the type of target share that Darnell Mooney does get. Although the problem is the Bears just don't throw the ball that often. Then we get down to Devontae Parker. He could be interesting at $7,000. Probably should look a little bit more into these matchups on the outside with Devontae Parker and then Tyquan Thornton and Nelson Aguilar. Who's probably going to go up against Jalen Johnson the most, and who's going to go against Kendall Vildor, because Kendall Vildor is just not a very good corner. So we could take a little bit of advantage there. I'm going to see if I can bring that up just real quick on my other screen, because I do have my matchup sheet where I like to look at where wide receivers line up and everything else like that to see where potential advantages could be. This is useful for DFS. This is useful for fantasy football as well. This is on the Patreon page as well if anybody's interested in it. But let me go down to the Patriots real quick. Here are the Patriots. So we got Devontae Parker will go. So Devontae Parker is most likely to face Jalen Johnson the most in coverage tonight. Kendall Vildor side is where you get that Nelson Aguilar and that Tyquan Thornton side, most likely. So I think Tyquan Thornton was going to be pretty popular, especially like in the flex spot. I think he was only less than 1% projected in the champion spot when I was looking earlier. But now we have Nelson Aguilar playing, so there's a little bit of a question mark there. So if I'm playing in GPPs, I'm building multiple lineups. I want to build some lineups that have some Nelson Aguilar in it. I'm going to build some lineups that have some Tyquan Thornton in it. Obviously, we saw Tyquan Thornton scored 3 touchdowns in the past 2 games. So he's been pretty involved in this offense. They used him on a little bit of end around or reverse that he scored on a rushing touchdown as well. Definitely a high upside player, and all he's got to do is run past Kendall Vildor one time and he could catch a long touchdown. Same thing could be said about Nelson Aguilar. It's not like he's slow by any means either, but he is coming off that hamstring injury. And Aguilar, and him, they're not projected to be in the champion spot whatsoever, pretty much. So if you want to take some shots there in the champion spot, you can definitely do that as well. Patriots defense at $5,600, very popular, but they are a little bit pricier too, just because the Bears offense has not been very good. Patriots defense, typically pretty good. Coming in the year, I thought they weren't going to be as good as they normally are, but still pretty decent overall. Excuse me. So we got Khalil Herbert at $5,400. If you want to get away from some David Montgomery chalk, Khalil Herbert has that ability to break off a long run. He could definitely pay off for his price tag. Maybe you want to get crazy and you want to play 4 running backs tonight. You play Khalil Herbert, David Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harrison, like both defenses. I think that's actually a build I threw in just like a quarter contest or something like that, just to see if something crazy like that would happen. You never know with some of these lower scoring primetime games where we just don't know completely exactly what's going to happen. And then we get down to Dante Pettis. Obviously, he paid off last Thursday, so his price tag went way up because he was like $1,800. Now he's $5,200, so his price tag essentially tripled. He's the third wide receiver for the Bears. We did talk about N'Keal Harry a little bit. We're not sure how him and Velus Jones are going to shake up in this. You can definitely take shots on them, as well as Dante Pettis, Equanimeous St. Brown. You can take shots on any Bears wide receivers, but the thing is they just don't throw the ball that much. So they're all averaging, less than 10 fantasy points per game at this point in time. Hunter Henry could be involved at $5,000. Obviously, you're hoping for a touchdown out of him. Same thing with Cole Kmet at $4,800. Kmet could see more targets. Just depends if he gets in the end zone too as well. Both kickers are in play, in Nick Folk and Cairo Santos. I believe Nick Folk and Santos are both projected 1% captain ownership overall. $4,400, $4,200. I would prefer Nick Folk if I had the choice between the two overall. Then let's see. We got the Chicago Bears defense at $4,000. Like I talked about before, like the Bears have a hard time stopping the run, or they have at times this year. But if they can stop the run against the Patriots, they can get some pressure on Mac Jones, who is coming off that ankle injury. There's a chance that they could pay off. It's $4,000. They're not getting that much ownership, so I don't really have a problem going to them tonight, especially if it's going to be a low-scoring game overall. Jonnu Smith's $2,400. He's kind of been that second tight end for the Patriots. He's been doing a lot of blocking, but when he does run routes, he's been targeted at a pretty good rate, so that's something to pay attention to. So even if he just runs like 8 routes and he gets 2-3 targets, he could still pay off for $2,400. Velus Jones is $1,200. He had the touchdown, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and then he's doing some kick returns and stuff like that, so he could always pay off in that regard. I think he's just punt returning at this point in time. Don't quote me on that. Tristan Ebner was kick returning earlier this season. Ryan Griffin, just a backup tight end, him and Travion Wesco. If you really want to take some dart throws there, you could do it, but nothing that I'm doing personally myself. I think if you're going all the way down, N'Keal Harry's probably going to be your guy overall. If you're going to just looking for somebody that's cheap, it's $200. We have no idea how much he's going to play tonight. And that's kind of something that you target on some of these showdown slates, because there is that mystery factor there overall. And it's just going to be pretty interesting, so never know what's going to shake out there, or if it's going to shake his way in general too. So that's pretty much what I got so far in terms of the pricing, kind of my thoughts in general. As I mentioned before, a lot of ownership going to the Patriots tonight, 73%. The Bears is 27% aggregate ownership to the captain spot. So if you want to get different GPPs, play the Bears. If you want to be a little bit more chalky and you just want to make some money, probably going on the Patriots side. Now we're going to start building some lineups. Typically, I like to start with kind of a cash build. So Ramondre Stevenson is the most popular guy in the champion spot. You could play him there in a cash if you really want to do so. Personally, I played Jacoby Myers. We know he's going to be pretty popular. He's a little bit cheaper as well. We can play Ramondre Stevenson. We can play Mac Jones from there as well. Typically in cash, you're going to see a kicker involved at some point in time. Maybe the Patriots defense on tonight's case. We're just going to go Nick Folk, see what we got left. But we got Cairo Santos that is sneaking in there too. We could put the Patriots defense in here. Let me see if I can find them real quick. $5,600. You'd have $7,100 left over, which you have to get to a Bears player still, which doesn't give you very good range for the Bears if you're trying to do that. Maybe we play Mooney here at $7,400. Just because we know he's going to be pretty involved in this offense overall. And then from there, you could pay the Dante Pettis. You can play the Hunter Henry if you wanted to do so. I think maybe we just go all the way up to David Montgomery in this case, or Justin Fields, and then we kind of fill out the rest from there. If we do, let's see, if we do, I was going to say if we do Justin Fields instead, we might get to Jonnu Smith, but that doesn't work either. So cash build, a little bit interesting tonight. Maybe you take Ramondre Stevenson out here. It's really interesting. I think let's do Ramondre Stevenson, and let's do Nick Folk. Let's do Cairo Santos instead of Nick Folk, and then try to make this work. So if we don't do David Montgomery, if we do Justin Fields, and then we could do a Jonnu Smith here if we really wanted to do so. So this is one that you could play in cash. Jonnu Smith's kind of the awkward one because we don't know exactly what we're going to get out of him. But Jacoby Myers is pretty safe. If you wanted to take, let's see, we could probably do Darnell Mooney instead. I know I kind of talked about this just a little bit ago. We have $5,500. If you really wanted to, you could probably play just both defenses. That is something you could do in this build. Not sure I want to do that in cash, but if you think it's going to be a low scoring game, it definitely could pay off overall. Let's see. We're going to clear this out real quick. We're going to build just a couple different lineups overall because there is so many different ways you could play this slate on overall. Excuse me. Let's see. So I think one of the interesting ways to get a little bit different on tonight's slate is everybody's trying to target Ramondre Stevenson. So we're going to go to Damian Harris here at $12,600. If he's doing well, the Patriots are probably doing well overall. And we're going to play the Patriots defense alongside there. We could play the kicker as well. We could play Nick Folk. And then maybe we play Mac Jones in this case. Don't say that you have to do it. We could do Mac Jones and we could do Jacoby Myers. We could turn this into onslaught 5-1. Then we get down to who do you want to play from the Bears? Do you want to play Darnell Mooney? There's $2,000 left over. That's a little bit different way to get a little bit different as well. You could get really different. We could not play Mac Jones and we could play Ramondre Stevenson in the flex spot, have $8,400 left over. Still do Darnell Mooney, have about $1,000 left over. A couple different ways that you could do that as well. I think and I really like Tyquan Thornton. I like the Nelson Aguilar as well. So you can play one of them in the champion. This would be pretty similar either way. We'll play Mac Jones alongside them. If you want to play the chalky play in Ramondre Stevenson, you can still do that. If you want to put Justin Fields on the other side, you can still do that. Didn't mean to hit Bailey Zappi there. Then we could put Darnell Mooney. We could have $1,700 left over. Probably going to pay down a little bit more than Darnell Mooney overall. So maybe we're playing an Equinemius St. Brown. Maybe we're playing a Dante Pettis. If we put Pettis, that doesn't really fit either. You could play like a Cole Kmet, and then you could do the kicker or the Bears defense. That's definitely one way that you could go about it. A couple different ways. I'm just going to apologize because sometimes these slates with these teams that don't have like a lot of great offensive weapons, these slates get kind of yucky at times. I'm just going to go through. I'll show you guys some of the lineups that I do already have built. I'm probably going to adjust some of these just a little bit now that we know N'Keal Harry is active. We know that Nelson Aguilar is active as well. So we're looking real quick. I have one with Justin Fields in the captain spot. So we're pairing him with some of his pass catchers like Darnell Mooney. We've got Dante Pettis. We got the kicker as well. We got the popular Ramondre Stevenson. Then we have Tyquan Thornton, who I do like quite a bit tonight. We have a Mac Jones captain line where he's paired with his wide receivers and Jacoby Myers and Tyquan Thornton as well as his kicker. We still have the popular Ramondre Stevenson. And then we have Dante Pettis for our lone bear on that one. Then we have this. I think this was the crazy one I was talking about where I just played both running backs on each side and then both defenses on each side. Just a low scoring game, get a bunch of involvement there. Probably not one that you want to play in like cash or anything like that, or like a high risk GPP or anything like that. But just one that I threw into a couple different cheaper contests overall. Tyquan Thornton in the captain spot with Mac Jones. I threw in Damian Harris in this one as well as the Patriots defense. Then I have Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert just to get a little bit different there as well. And then that one did leave $500 on the table. We got Dante Pettis alongside Justin Fields. We threw in Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. So pretty similar to like a Fields captain line, but we just put one of the pass catchers in the champion spot instead. And then we have the safe guys of Ramondre Stevenson and Jacoby Myers on the Patriots side. So those are kind of the ones that I do have built right now. If anybody wants to see a specific one or anything else like that, we could definitely go through as well. I am going to go back. I don't think salary is a major issue tonight because we could go back real quick and we could put like a N'Keal Harry line or something like that, where he's just a super cheap guy. I know a couple people that listen from time to time like to see the very cheaper ones as well. Excuse me, like what happens when you put a cheap uh, champion spot in instead. So we're just going to do this real quick. We are going to enter a new lineup. We're going to put N'Keal Harry in the captain spot because we are insane. But this is GPP only type of thing that you would do. Got Justin Fields there as well. Uh, Now, what you want to do from here is kind of a big question. You want to play? We could play Ramondre Stevenson. We could play David Montgomery because we're already saving a ton of money. Probably play Mac Jones. Like you're $100 short here for Jacoby Myers. So if you really want to move one of these other pieces around, you could do so. That would be almost too perfect that Jacoby Myers would just slip in and fit right there. So, but instead of playing Jacoby Myers, we could play a Tyquan Thornton. We could play a Nelson Aguilar. We could play Nelson Aguilar in this line and leave $2,300 on the table. Or we could pay up for somebody else a little bit higher up and then N'Keal Harry if we wanted to do so. Maybe we take N'Keal Harry out of the champion spot. Maybe we put Nelson Aguilar in the champion spot. Let's see how much money that leaves us left over if we can get Aguilar in the champion spot. Aguilar doesn't fit in this case. We're $300 short. So then if we put N'Keal Harry in here, we'd be $500 short. So then we'd have to save $500 somewhere. Maybe we take Dave Montgomery out. Maybe we're putting in Damian Harris or something. That's just another way that we could do it. A lot of ways to get interesting tonight. If you guys have any questions, I know there's not too many people in here tonight. Definitely feel free to ask. And if you're on here already, if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. I go over the weekly DFS core play picks for NFL, and then I have daily Monday through Friday for NBA as well, occasionally on the weekends as well. So definitely interested in that. If you're interested in any type of DFS, definitely here to help you guys out as best I can. And if you have any questions outside of the streams, outside of the videos, feel free to comment on either one of them. Message me on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport. Or if you want to, or interested a little bit more in the Patreon page, just check out patreon.com/Coach Craig Sport. There's a link down in the description below. Definitely willing to help you guys out as much as I can. And I'm just looking at a couple different things because I'm doing the live stream. I got a basketball video as well. And I'm just trying to update some of the lineups as well in the comments. So if you guys have any questions while I'm doing that, feel free to reach out as well in the comments here, or the chat, I should say. If anybody's watching that also watches the basketball videos, we got a couple different starting lineups. We got Jazz, Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Laurie Markman, Jared Vanderbilt, Kelly Olynyk. Then for Houston, we have Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Eric Gordon, Kenyon Martin Jr., Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith actually starting at center. So KJ Martin looks pretty good now. He game locked. Yeah, he game already locked at the start of this stream. We have for the Spurs, Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson, Jakob Pertl. For the Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns. We got Rudy Gobert, Kyrie Irving. Let's see. Dylan Brooks is playing tonight for basketball, so that's kind of the one that actually matters as well. So if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, this is pretty much what I got for the NFL stream for tonight. I know it's not as long, not as probably exciting as some of my other streams, but it's not the craziest slate overall. This is probably going to be a lower scoring game. Target some defenses, target some of the other running back, like Montgomery is the popular running back. So maybe you want to get a little bit different. You play Khalil Herbert and Damian Harris together. That's one way to get a little bit interesting. Maybe you play both defenses, and then maybe you play both quarterbacks in that situation or something like that. A lot of different ways that you can approach tonight's slate. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And then if you have any questions before lock or anything else like that, feel free to reach out on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. But pretty much that's what I have for tonight's stream. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out. But I do appreciate everybody that did tune in tonight as well.